So we hear the term debt being thrown around a lot, but what a lot of people don't realize is that there's two types of debt. There's good debt and there's bad debt. Hey everybody, my name's Harjit Singh and I'm from 3-Tier Investing. Today we're going to be discussing this topic and kind of explaining why it's important to understand where your money's going and how you leverage it. Now, if you look at the portfolios of a lot of successful people like Graham Stephan, Meet Kevin, or anybody else who may be involved in the housing market, if you look at their books, you may see that they have a lot of debt, right? And that comes from real estate. Considering the fact that houses are so expensive, that number tends to add up pretty quickly. But if you look at the way they've structured it, it's actually the smartest thing they've done. See, the trick is, when you're making money, it's incredibly more difficult to make it than it is compared to spending it. So by utilizing an example of, let's say, a mortgage, right? You want to buy a home, you have $200,000 ready to buy this home, but you think about it, right? I can either pay cash for this home or I can use something called a mortgage. Mortgage basically sets it up in a way where generally you'll pay about 20% down, right? So on a $200,000 home, that's about $40,000. And then the $160,000 is financed by the bank. Now you can choose to go 30 years, you can go 15 years, you can do something called an ARM. We're not going to go into those technicals, but for the sake of simplicity, let's say that you're doing a $200,000 house, $160,000 is financed by the bank, you paid 20% down, and that's for 30 years, right? What's going to end up happening is, because it's spread out over the course of 30 years, your monthly payment is going to be very, very small compared to what you actually would have to buy the home outright. So you still have $160,000 liquid, right? Because you only put $40,000 down, and now you can pay the bills with that if you need to. So you have a lot more flexibility with your cash. The benefit to this comes when you think about investing or buying rental properties or any type of, real estate that can be used for business purposes or for income purposes. Perfect example becomes you buy a home, right? You can either buy one property that makes you $800 a month, right? We'll say $800 a month, and you put $200,000 down, that's all you've got. Now let's say you're in a situation where the property value goes down, right? You lost $20,000 right away. Your money is gone. Whereas when you play the long-term game, right? If you've got a situation where you've got a property and you used a mortgage instead of, paying cash, most of that risk is on the bank itself because it's most of their money. Now what you've done is you've got more liquid cash. So let's say that there was an investment opportunity, market fell down, house prices went down. Yeah, you bought one property and that value went down. But because you used a mortgage, you still have that $160,000 you would have spent on that first house. You can use that money to get more homes at that lower cost. And this is something along with a similar concept from investing called dollar cost averaging, whereas this is on a much grander scale with properties. What you're doing is you're looking at market conditions, and anytime there's a dip, right, you're buying more, and what that does is that really helps you complete that cycle of buying low and selling high. Now what you've done is you've entered the market with the initial house, you've started building some revenue by putting it on rent. Obviously, there's a hypothetical situation where we assume everything works out, right? Just for the sake of understanding how the numbers go. You bought the first house, you've got it on rent, you're making money, property value goes down because the market crashed. Housing market, down, boom. If you had only put all of your money in the first house, you would be stuck with just that first house. But because you got the mortgage, now you've got more money, you can buy more homes, now you've got multiple sets of cash flow so that when the market does go back, that same $200,000 house, you bought a similar house for $175,000, now you make the $25,000 profit on each home, plus you've got more cash flow coming from each home. Additionally, the mortgage you pay is also tax deductible. So if you look into the tax code, you can actually use it as an advantage so that any money you make from the property becomes tax-free and essentially becomes free money for you to keep. So now you've got equity in all of these homes, which is building your overall net worth. Now you're getting cash flow from numerous homes, and you got a discount, so you basically profit in 3 different ways off of this situation. So that would be a perfect example of good debt. Utilizing your cash flow, being very careful with it, using the bank's money to buy property, using that to create more cash flow for yourself, and then in a situation where you've remodeled the home, you can actually refinance and get even more cash. That's a great example of good debt because It's a debt that's temporary. There's a plan for you to make money off that debt, and there's a way for you to actually profit off that. That's the main thing to understand, is debt that's used. For example, if I go to buy a brand new iPhone, it's a depreciating asset. It's going to do nothing for me. There's no way that iPhone's value is going to go up if it's just a regular phone. If I'm buying a car, right, anything like that, a brand new car immediately depreciates. So the thing to understand here is you need to be very smart with your money. Yes, anybody can say that, but how you use your money and make your money work for you is the most important thing when it comes to understanding your debt. So the goal at the end of the day should be to minimize any of your bad debt. Credit cards, student loans. Student loans, by the way, you can never get rid of, even with bankruptcy. So you need to be extremely careful in a situation like that. So at the end of the day, what you really want to think about is, how is my money leveraged? Do I have good debt or do I have bad debt? And if I do have bad debt, how quickly can I get rid of that so that I can start saving up my cash, put it into investments, put it in a place where my money can work alongside with me. So if you're working a 9 to 5 and you've got a really stable job, but you've got enough money to put into investments, now you've got 2 streams of income. So God forbid that job goes away, you've got another thing that can help you pay some of your bills or help keep you afloat while you find another job. Or if you choose to go full-time in investing, you've already got that started. So at the end of the day, always think about how you're managing your money, where you're putting your money, and how you can leverage that situation to make you more money. And I know that sounds super greedy, but at the end of the day, the goal is not to have more in the bank. The goal is to have that comfort so that you can help yourself, you can help those around you, and you can really take care of your environment to uplift everybody, because that's what money is really for. It's about helping communities. It's about making sure people are happy and healthy, and it's about making sure that you're taken care of, God forbid, anything that comes your way. So with that, that's just a quick summary of what good debt and bad debt is. If I've misspoken in any way, I do humbly apologize. If you've got any comments, please feel free to reach out to us. We're always open to listen to any feedback. With that, have a great day. Take care. Keep learning, keep loving, keep growing.